What is up, gang? It is I, Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And tonight we are finally back with a market update for the VeVe niche. And it has been a long time since I have done a market update. And some of my great crypto pro followers have been on me about getting updated for the VeVe market, and here it is. I'm back, I'm ready. It's been a very extremely busy month for me. And even though I have not been posting many videos at all, I have been very busy behind the scenes collecting and pushing forward with Strategy 2.0. And I have so much to share with you that's coming, including a special comics update where I came up with my very own risk mitigation plan that lowers my risk of slippage for collecting during this time that we're in this downtrend. I'll explain all that on that video, but that'll give you some incentive to stay tuned and stick with me. And also, I did actually have 4 attempts at doing an incredible market update and spent several hours doing it and had problems with my new mic. Let me show you this. When I'm shooting on the smartphone, I'm using this new mic. So this puppy costs like 80 bucks. And I'm having problems because when I get 3 to 5 minutes into the video, the audio just completely goes out and you get nothing but fuzz and crackling and distortion. And I kept trying different tweaks and I wasted 4 or 5 hours shooting videos that were messed up. So I'm back on the desktop. I'm not taking chances on shooting with the smartphone until I figure that out so I don't waste any more of our valuable time. Well, we're going to just jump right in and check out what's happening in the market because I thought that we had bottomed out a week or 2 ago and we were not. And we're going to see that in the charts. We are still in a distribution phase of the 4 phases of the market cycle, and we have not yet had the evidence and the data to say we have entered into the accumulation phase. So let's jump straight in and start with some of the most important golden moments, and then we'll look at some of my other favorites that I think indicate very well of what the market is doing with VeVe. Scrolling down, we're going to start with the most important, in my opinion, and that is the ultra rare partner statue. So we're going to scroll on down, and we're at a current price that is kind of shocking, $8,200. Wow. So let's just kind of zoom out and see what we have here. On the 7-day, we can see we popped up to nearly 11,000, and then we continued this overall downtrend. Popping out to 30 days, we see a definite downtrend, a nice smooth slope. Let's just draw on the picture here. We'll use red since it's downtrend. And overall, this is the direction that we're seeing. Coming down to this ending point of 8,200. And I don't see any indication yet that we are done with that distribution. Looking at the big picture with all of the data going back to November. And we see here that our market cycle peak was nearly 50,000. That's amazing. And then we had that steep decline. This was the massive sell-off after the double peak. We had the first peak here, the second lower high, just like you do in crypto. So you come down, you jump back up. This is where everyone's in denial, thinking the market is still going up, and then you drop rapidly. And now the plane is coming in for a landing. Look at the slope. We notice that we have a pretty aggressive slope, then slightly flatter, and now we're coming in for a landing, although we're still going down. I'm waiting for the point when this levels off. That means that we're in accumulation. Has not happened yet. All right, let's move on to the next golden moment, which is one that I hold, and that would be the uncommon R2D2. Let's check out the chart, and there's a steep drop coming in today. It's 1,600 gems. Let's just zoom out and see what this picture is giving us. There we go. Slight downtrend there with this drop off at the end here of the week. And then on the 30-day, we have a nice overall downtrend still, where I thought that after coming up here that this is the bottom and that we leveled off, but now we're starting to move down again. On the big picture, dating back to November, it's the same chart of what we're seeing with the partner statue. The only difference is we've got a fake double top here, where the first top was right here, and then we go down and then we rip up on this bull run to finish it off at the market cycle peak. And then I would say that this was our first recovery, the rebound that fakes us out. It just happened quicker than the partner statue. Then there's that same steep slope and then flattening off here, and then a little fake out where it's just kind of coming in at the top of this channel. If we draw a line through the peaks and through the valleys, we see that we have a parallel trading channel that is forming, and it still looks like we are moving down. All right, so that's R2D2. Let's just do a couple more here. We can look at maybe one more of the first series, and I'd like to look at, say, C3PO. Maybe we'll add R2D2. So let's just jump to the all-time, because we know that we're down at a low here of 820. We were down as low as 800 within the last few days, but looking at the all-time since it came out, same chart, steep slope, flattening off yet again here, slightly coming up, which kind of gives more of an indication that we could be to the closing point. Now, I will say this, that risk when we're running up into this area, risk of investing is a lot higher. Risk of slippage. In other words, the slippage is when you bought here and then the price goes way down to here. Or if you bought at this peak, look at this slippage way down here. As you flatten out, you're going to notice that your chance of losing a lot of your equity is much less when we're flattening out. So the slippage is a lot less from here to here, and that means that it's less risky investing in a bottom than it is during a bull market and a market cycle peak. Keep that in mind. If you want to lower your risk, you need to learn when to buy. You don't buy when the market's going crazy. You buy now when everyone is afraid to buy because they think everything is going to zero, which it most likely will not. And that, my friend, is not financial advice. All right, let me find Homer here. Where is Homer? There he is, Homer and Bart, which I had two of these and I sold them both. I made a slight profit on the first one and a tremendous profit on the second one. I sold at 800 gems. Looking at the all-time from when it came out from day one, we see the peak going as high as $2,700 with the same action. Steep, less steep, and now we're almost ready to flatten out. That's an encouraging chart. I like this chart. I would feel much more comfortable picking this thing back up at the price we're at now, even if it drops to 200 or 300, because you're not leaving that much on the table than if you would have bought it during this crazy market cycle peak and the bull run. So that is Homer. Hey, what the heck? Let's look at the hat. The hat, Mickey Sorcerer's hat here, the rare. This has got a wild chart. I have one of these still in my collection, and what an ugly drop. Nearly peaking out at 7,000. Very steep drop, rebound, bounce, and then the steep and the less flat, and it looks like it is bottoming out, flattening out at the end. Not to say that it can't go any lower, because there's a chance that it could. Now, looking at the newer ones, let's look at two or three of our newer items. I do have Cogsworth and Lumiere, and we'll just go to the all-time here. It has been as low as 88 gems as far as what I remember. The peak was around 215. And this is encouraging. Steep drop, flattening off. We don't have much more room to go down as it looks. And then we see that the supply is also dwindling. So when you can bring down supply, listings that are on the market, and price levels off, that's a good thing. But don't be fooled into thinking that this is all that's left in the supply, because anyone and everyone can throw those items up on the market. There will be some that are lost, people who buy it and forget about it and never sell it. So over time, the available supply could be going lower, but that does not mean that you can't raise that supply way up here to 2, 3, 4, 500 because a lot of people are holding and waiting for prices to go up to get some money. So when MTL comes out, you could expect that some of these might increase significantly in supply. All right, let's see what else. There's the Chip and Dale, Lady and the Tramp. Let's look at Donald Duck and see if there's some similarity in the chart. These charts, when you got a lot of data, you can trust what you see because the cycles are very clear. Same thing here, peak at 800, steep drop, flattening off, and this one looks like it's bottom. We had the bottom point right here. This data point says 235, and we're currently at 274. Slight uptick. I think they're all going to look the same. So in general here, the golden moments are telling us that we're at the bottom of the distribution phase, very close to accumulation, and we could be at accumulation, but we need to wait until MTL in order to be for sure that we're not going to have too much more bleeding that is going on. All right, let's get to the next one that is a set of one, and that would be Superman. And let's see what the Superman chart looks like. Wait a minute. I can't see what I'm typing here. Let me raise this up. It says Golden Superman. There's no such thing. All right, so let's pull up Superman, the uncommon. And here we are. We saw a low here. Wow, 1222. I'm almost tempted to pick one up. I'm still mad that I didn't get a bunch of these off the market when it was retail and when it wasn't going anywhere, and then sitting and watching it at 100 and thinking get one, then it goes to 300 and I think it's too late, and then it rips up and down. Let's look at the all-time. Look at that peak, over 8,000. Same chart as the golden moment. Steep drop, less steep drop, but notice here at the end, we're still at a downward angle, okay? So we're not seeing the flattening out at the end that we saw in a lot of those golden moments. So this would be chalk one up for distribution phase is still continuing, all right? So that is our Superman. Let's keep it moving and look at some of our Batman collection because there's several that will give us plenty of clues that is in the Batman black and white. We'll start out with the most important of them all, and of course, that would be the Todd. So looking at the Todd, we are currently at a price of $3,100. Let's just get the all-time up here. We don't really need to zoom in incrementally there. And just like the Superman, after our steep drop, flattening off, we're still on the decline and supply is moving up. People are listing. That is probably why we see a little bit of a decline there at the end of this chart, and it's still going down. So where could it go? This could end up dipping down into the 2000s. It's possible. So we need to wait and see. And we know that it did dip down there already as low as $22.99 within the month of May. So we could be headed back down to the low 2000s as a floor. Now, let's look at a few others that are significant in the Batman collection. One is Batman Who Laughs. This one is just phenomenal. And this is my motivation for knowing that it is best to buy when nobody else is and when there's blood in the streets. Because when we look at the all-time, look at that peak, 800 gems. Now, one thing is you can't 100% say that this data is accurate because it's not. And as we'll see on some items, the market cycle peaks are not absolutely accurate because these are taken once, twice, maybe 3 times a day, and you can miss some of those high data points. And unfortunately, we can't pull data from Ecomi yet, and we only have a few folks that have access to that data. This is on the NFT tracker, the my-nft-tracker.com website. If you've never visited, give this a look. Well, at any rate, this is a nice flattening off. I like this. And it tells me that, hey, it might be time to maybe grab a couple more and add to my stack. I've got 8 to 10. I can't remember where it is, but I would like to have 10 of these and wait for that next market cycle peak to unload. And then I won't be greedy next time. Whenever we see something like this and you experience a 10X, you got to start unloading. You have to start selling during this phase. Selling when everyone else is hoarding and jumping on and having the FOMO bug bite hard. If you wait until this peak, you don't have much time to unload. And while we're dropping down steep, it's hard to get your listing sold because you're going to notice that undercutting will cause you to sit there and micromanage your listings, and you'll have to compete with others undercutting price in order to unload. It's easier to sell when the market flattens out. During this rapid distribution after a blow off top, that is not the time to sell. That's why you should be completely finished with your selling before a market cycle peak. If you wait and you get caught, good luck. It's going to be hard for you to jump out of the market at that point. All right, let's see what else do we have here that we could pull up that is significant. Batman versus Croc. Now, this is one where I can say that all of the data is not here. I remember, and Dokta Strange, shout out to Dokta Strange. Yay! I know that he could verify this or validate this as not being the peak, because this is showing, well, no, that's it. This is correct. Okay, I'm looking at the supply and not the price. It did go to 1,800, over 1,800. And my sympathies for everyone who bought during this peak. I feel your pain. And we had a nice smooth, the only good thing is you see a nice smooth decline in both price and supply. And this one's flattening out. This looks like the golden moments. So we might be a lot safer buying now for this item, as your risk of slippage is a lot less. And again, that means you buy at 143, there's not much lower that it can go. It's not like buying at 1,800 and knowing that you can leave 1,600 on the table. Your slippage, your risk of slippage is a lot higher when you're in a bull market, market cycle peak, and during the distribution phase. Okay, let's see. Let's look at maybe one more in Batman Black and White. And I like Bruce Timm Harley Quinn. And I had sold mine, I think, at 485 gems, and I'd like to get one back. And let's see here. It does look like it's flattening out. So we're still in distribution. There's a little bit more of an angle there, but we did dip down as low as 215. If we get back to 215, I might have to add one and sit on it and wait for the next cycle. All right, so that is enough. I think the rest of these, as I was looking through the Batman Black and White, they all look the same. Let's pull up DeLorean, and then let me think of if there's any other ones, maybe retrospective, which I'll show you when you don't have enough data to make a decision on where you are in the market cycle. So DeLorean, let's pull that up. And here we have the ultra rare, the rare, and the common. Let's just start out with this ultra, or no, is that the rare? Yeah, this is the ultra rare. Okay, there we go. So looking at the chart, we're below 300. And we were below 300 before. Okay, down here, way down here, 289. Where are we at right now? We're sitting at 299. So we are just below. And looking at the overall graph, wow, 1,800, over 1,800. And then steep drop, less steep drop, but now the angle of descent here is looking like it's flatter right after this point from what, a week ago? So we could be at a safe point where the risk of slippage is a lot less. So let's just skip the rare and jump to the common. Now there's a good lesson that you need to learn on the common. Now in the last few days here, it's moving up. We were at 31.99 and I should have bought a few more. I've got 26 of this one, but let's look at the all-time chart and see how crazy the common got. So the market cycle peak was over 180. That's just insane. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was either this peak here in March or this peak in March when the FOMO hit because they released the news that they were drivable, and then we just continued on. So this is a lesson learned. Just because they turned on drivability doesn't mean everybody's rich and it's going to continue to go up. So be careful with thinking that news can override a market cycle that tends to repeat across the board with collectibles and cryptocurrencies and the stock market. All right. Okay, so we might be close to an end here, but it could dip down back down to 30. Now let's see if there's anything else I can pull up. Oh yeah, that's right, the retrospective. Let me pull that up so I can show you this point. I have not bought either one of these, and I will own them one of these days. But the reason why I'm not buying it yet is because this data is not conclusive. First of all, there's not enough data points between, say, May the 10th and May the 2nd. Not a lot of data collection going on, and it might be because the owners of the site weren't able to collect data. But then we had a low point here, dipping down to 250, and then we've ripped up, stayed at around the 380 point, then we moved down, and then we see a lower high. My guess is that we're still moving down because we see the supply on the increase and price coming down. So if we can get that price down to 300, I might jump on board. Who knows? It could get down to retail. It's possible. Less probable that this one goes to retail, but it can happen. On the crates version, let's look at this chart. And this one is just the same. This is inconclusive. Not enough data to be able to tell where we're at. It's even sloppier than the previous. So here we sit at a price of 220, and I think that, hey, if it dips down to retail to 200, I'm okay with the amount of slippage at that point because eventually this is going to go up because I think that this could be a future grail. Both of these could be a future grail. So in summary, I would say that we're still in the distribution phase. However, we're in the best part of the distribution phase because we have diminishing increments of how much we decrease in price every day. So that means, to me, it gets less risky all the time. Now, if you got a pile of money and you can stack and do the DCA thing and buy once a week or once a month, you're probably going to end up better off than someone who jumps in head first that is just starting and doesn't have a lot of money, and they buy something for 200 gems and it goes down to 150. But overall, for somebody like me who's sitting on, 1,155 items, I just hit the 600 point on my comics, it's probably not going to hurt because my overall average is going to be looking pretty good because I've been buying all throughout the distribution phase, and I'll continue once we hit the accumulation phase. All right, so before we end, shout out to Crypto Pro community member Superman.
Yay!
Thank you for the $5 super thanks. That is the second super thanks that I've gotten in the history of the channel. I appreciate that. $5 is not a lot, but when you have an overhead that runs into the few hundreds to keep up a YouTube channel, every little bit helps. So if you want to help and donate, you can throw me a super thanks, or you can wait until I do a live video and you can do a super chat. And if you don't like sending money through YouTube, I will post my OMI wallet and I'll be able to accept donations for OMI. But I want to be able to produce more content, so stick with me. I promise you, I got good stuff coming. So stick in there, and in the meantime, I would love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Pro channel. And stick with me for the future updates. And thank you for spending the time and taking time out of your busy schedule to chat it up with me. I appreciate all the wonderful comments, like from Rainey. I appreciate you, Rainey, for such encouraging comments that you have given me and all of you guys. Come join us on the Crypto Pro VeVe channel on Telegram if you want. Links in the description. We have good, clean chat, no foul language, no cussing, spitting, and fighting, and animosity. We don't do any of that. We just discuss great strategy. That's what we're here for. So that is all I've got for now, and I will see you soon. This is Carlton, and I am out.